Now, Iran protests, of course, are resuming following overnight protests across all 31 provinces of Iran. Demonstrations demanding freedom and dignity for the Iranian people have resumed. Iran International has published footage from the city of Zahedan in the past few minutes. Receive it via Starlink. Ambassador Yogesh Gupta, former diplomat, is with us live. Ambassador Gupta, the protests seem to be continuing today as well. What do you make of these fresh visuals emerging?
What is clear is that these protests are spreading. The main reason is that the economic hardships have been biting the people. I understand that the Iranian government, the Ayatollah regime, has just given about $7 worth of facility to ordinary people to exchange at the official exchange rate. Otherwise, the unofficial rate in the market is in millions of the Iranian currency versus the US dollar. So obviously $7 per person is not enough, and people are fed up with the economic hardships. They are unhappy with with the denial of freedom, with the denial of liberty. And while on one side people are facing economic hardships, the regime, its protectors like the Revolutionary Guards, like the Basij, they are living in luxury. They have no problem of money. The regime is spending a lot of money on its foreign proxies in Lebanon and Iraq and other countries. So it's a regime which has misplaced priorities. It's a regime which is unable to control the economic situation. It is not able to provide a durable economic regime to its people, and therefore the protests have spread. And but I'm not sure whether these protests are very properly organized, or there is a alternate political body or organization which is in charge, or which is helping in the spread of these protests. I mean, how well these protests are organized, and so there are some doubts on that. As the previous panelist said, there is some demand for return of Shah, but again, one doesn't know whether it's a nationwide demand, or there are others who have some other people in mind. All these things are going on.
Yes. In fact, more reactions now coming in. The British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has agreed on the need for close coordination with international partners as the situation in Iran continues to evolve. He stressed that governments must closely monitor developments and respond in a coordinated manner as events unfold. The Prime Minister also reiterated his firm support for people in Iran who are exercising their right to peaceful protest. He underlined that the right to protest is a fundamental democratic principle, and also called on authorities to respect civil liberties and avoid the use of force against demonstrators. Professor Rohan Gunaratna, international affairs expert, is live with us from Singapore. Professor Gunaratna, what do you make of this statement by the UK Prime Minister on the Iran protests?
There is very significant international concern about the developments in Iran. Every country wants the Ayatollah regime to be replaced. It is because Iran, the Iranian regime, has invested their time funding proxies and partners like the Lebanese Hezbollah, like Ansarullah in Yemen, without building the economy of the country. So the people are very angry. This is largely a protest driven by domestic considerations. But now we have seen for the first time the international community has sent a very clear message to the regime not to use force. Although in the last 24 hours, significant force has been used, and now the security responsibilities has been given to IRGC, which is Iran's elite fighting unit that is notorious for using brute force. So in the coming days, we will see a number of civilians being killed, a number of protests increasing, and number of protesters will take into violence. The protests will transform into more demonstrations and more riots rather than having peaceful protests, because the state itself is using violence.
Okay, let me in fact also address some more breaking news coming in now. In his first public comments on the escalating protests since the 3rd of January, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khomeini has launched a sharp attack on the US and President Trump. He's accused the US leader of having hands stained with the blood of more than 1,000 Iranians, alleging American involvements in efforts to destabilize the country. Khomeini claimed the protests were being exploited by foreign powers and warned that Iran would not tolerate what he described as external interference. He's also predicted that the arrogant US president would eventually be overthrown, drawing a parallel with the fall of the imperial dynasty that ruled Iran until the 1979 Islamic Revolution, and asserting that resistance would ultimately prevail against outside pressure. A firm hit back at the US president and a strong statement being made by Khomeini. Ambassador Yogesh Gupta, what can be read into this?
Well, you know, as I've said, many countries have, I mean, the United States has expressed a certain amount of support for the protesters. But again, one doesn't know what Trump's motives are. I mean, if Trump is trying to replace the Ayatollah with the Shah, you know, the deposed king, I don't know whether the Iranian people really want that. So it is not clear how many people in Iran are in favor of Shah, and whether the people as a whole, they want Shah to be brought in. And Trump, of course, is playing his own games. You know, what exactly he has in mind. Trump's objectives are no less nefarious, as we have seen in case of Venezuela. You know, he's trying to grab the Venezuelan oil. We see what he's trying to do in Greenland. Maybe in Iran also he has something similar in mind. So Trump is equally nefarious. The situation is all very confused, and it's not very clear, and one is not even sure whether there is an alternate organization which is sponsoring these protests, and whether it will be able to, and how far it will be able to continue these protests.
Okay, let me in fact also get in some more details that are coming in. In fact, now Iranian foreign minister has also given a statement. Abbas Araghchi has accused the US and Israel of fueling protests in Iran. He's denied reports that his family fled the country and refused the likelihood of foreign intervention. Araghchi also said Oman's foreign minister was due to visit Tehran on Saturday, but added, "We do not know whether he's carrying a message or not." So now another key statement coming to light from the foreign minister of Iran, Professor Rohan Gunaratne. What do you make of what Araghchi has come out and said?
It has no basis. There's no truth to it, because these are domestic protests. These are people who are angry and hungry because the Iranians could not maintain a reasonable economy in their own country. Certainly, Iran as a regime did not look after those people, and those people are now rebelling against the Iranian regime. The Americans and the Israelis are very angry with the mullahs or the ayatollahs, but to say that this protest is instigated by the Americans and the Israelis is not true. What needs to be done is for the Iranian regime to be toppled, and for sensible leaders to take over the country, because Iran has very beautiful and very intelligent people, and it's a huge resource and a big demography. I believe that Iran will emerge as a major power in the Middle East if the Ayatollahs are removed and replaced.
Okay. More breaking news, in fact, also coming in now in a recent development regarding the protest on ground. Reports of harm to infrastructure have emerged in Iran's Khorasan Razavi province. According to reports, protesters have attacked the Chenaran city police station, leading to the deaths of 5. Deputy for Security and Law Enforcement of the Razavi Khorasan. Governor's office has further claimed that several buses were also set on fire amidst the unrest. So attack on police station leaving several deaths, several buses also now being set on fire. In these fresh developments, we are tracking Ambassador Yogesh Gupta. Professor Gunaratna, why don't you take that, sir? Fresh visuals coming in. Attack on police station leading to 5 deaths, buses being set on fire amidst these dramatic scenes emerging from Iran today. Fresh inputs on today's protests show this serious attack on a police station, police cars also being set on fire and buses as well. Professor Gunaratna.
The intensity, the frequency and the scale of the protests have magnified. And also in terms of numbers, there are hundreds of thousands of people today throughout all the provinces of Iran. So it is a question of time that there will be, the current regime will be replaced. But what is sad is that there will be violence and counter-violence. Both police, military and other security personnel will be killed and protesters also will be killed. There will be a significant carnage in the coming days because the Ayatollahs will want to cling to power. So there will be such images every day. These developments are more recent because in the first few days, the protests were very peaceful, but only after the Iranian regime used violence, the protesters have started to riot.
All right, appreciate you, our guest, joining us with your perspectives on this story. A quick break on that note. Before we take a break, I believe more developments are coming in from Iran. The EU has now also called on Iran to restore the internet. The Union has said that violence against peaceful demonstrators is unacceptable. The European Union has demanded from Iran's government to restore internet access and back protesters by stating the people of Iran are expressing their legitimate aspiration for a better life. Any violence against peaceful demonstrators is unacceptable. And now taking that very short break.